All right, you guys. I'm going to hit the record button so that we can get started on our wonderful meeting this morning. And really, you guys are probably so used to me talking about just essential oils. But today we're going to talk about my story of last year and what I went through and all of the poking and prodding and everything. And I know this is a huge topic because I was actually asked to share this information. So, what I'm going to do is just tell you all about my personal journey and then maybe just kind of go through some of the things that helped me. Okay. So, I'm going to close this little box and go like that. How's that? Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, great. We are recording the call because there are some people that weren't able to join us live. So I promised I would record it and send the link later. If you guys have questions, since I can't see your faces in the boxes, just either raise your hand, someone watch the chat, or just come off mute and say, "Hey, you have a question." So I'm happy to answer it as we go along, or we can reserve some time at the end to go over any questions that you guys have. I am an open book. You will learn this about me, that I wear everything on my sleeve. It is probably, no surprise to any of you that that's how I roll, but we're just going to keep moving and just take you on a tour of what my last year looked like. All right, let's go. So a lot of people have asked me, and this is a very vulnerable place for me. So just so you guys know, the reason I just used my spearmint a minute ago is because it has been a long road and the last year has been so difficult. And I know that I'm not alone in this, that there are probably many of you who are on this call or watching this video that are looking for answers, or there's something that is coming up in your health journey or your labs or whatever. And you're thinking, okay, maybe the core of that is my liver. So, what I want to tell you is that it wasn't just one thing that I did. And surely I knew I had oils in my life, I had supplements, I had a healthy lifestyle, but with all that knowledge, how was I not putting some of that into place and helping myself? So the picture on the left is really difficult for me to share. And actually, my 12-year-old said, "Mommy, that is not a pleasure. That I get no pleasure from looking at that picture. That is very bad." So she suggested I not share it, but in full transparency, I think it's really important for me to go to a vulnerable place and share with you where I was and where I am now, because it's not just what you see on the outside, it's actually what took place on the inside as well. So, why we're here today and why you guys decided to cut out a few minutes of your Saturday morning is to hear about maybe some of the things that I did. And it wasn't just one thing, right? I knew better. It was a lot of things that took place over the last year that I put into practice that finally stuck, that worked. And so I'm going to share what some of those things are. But my main sentiment, if you don't hear anything else I say, is please don't give up. You're not alone. There are so many people that share this space with you. And I do have to tell you my disclaimer, which is everything I'm going to tell you on this call is just from my perspective as a human being, as a mom, as someone who was at the end of my rope with my health. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a medical professional. I'm not a nurse. I am nothing like, I'm far from that. But if you have questions that you want to delve deeper into, you want to know about my journey, fine, I'm happy to share with you. But anything you do, I do want you to be sure that you are in concert with your medical provider if you are looking for medical advice. That's not me. Okay. All right. Very good. There's my disclaimer out the door. So, this picture is also very hard for me to share. And if you can tell, I am actually in I don't know, the hospital, doctor's office. I'm somewhere, right? That is not my room. That's not my house, not my decor. But how can you tell if your liver is under functioning? And I knew something was up, but these are some of the telltale signs: that dark circles under your eyes, if you're tired all the time. I had a fog around me that I could not get out of. It didn't matter what I tried. There was no way I was going to break out of that fog. You can see by this picture that I was very bloated and puffy all the time. And what tipped me off is I thought it was allergies for me, my skin was really itchy. My scalp was itchy. And I thought, okay, well, it's my shampoo, or I changed a product and it was just itchy all the time. So I was doing a lot of allergy protocols and that wasn't helping at all. I was sweating at all the wrong times. That was kind of embarrassing. And with the sweat came this foul, foul smell. See, I told you this is going to be vulnerable and full disclosure, right? But I share this, you guys, because there's someone watching this that is going, yeah, check, check, check. I over the course of the last few years, I mean, we had our share of what happened post COVID, right? That everyone, me in particular, like the weight gain and all the things. But I used to be able to just eat differently and then lose that weight, and this time it wasn't leaving. That was really hard for me. My skin was really red and blotchy, and there are other spots where it was yellow. And that you might not be at that point yet, but when your liver is under functioning, the whites of your eyes get a little tinge and your skin is itchy and potentially jaundice. So and then for me personally, it did affect some of my hormones, and it was the perfect storm, right? Everything happened at the same time. I really thought I was falling apart. That was the course of the year last year. Of course, I thought, man, it's just me. Everybody else has this figured out. Why on earth am I going through this? And also, full disclosure, I had entered my 50s and just thought, all right, well, maybe it's an age thing. Maybe, maybe this is what postmenopause looks like. I have no idea. But it was everything all at once that really came at a time where I wasn't really sure what to do. So we're going to talk about a few things and just my roadmap back to where I am today in a really healthy space. And I'm going to share some resources with you. If you haven't already gotten your free copy of my ebook, The Guide, then please jump on and get that. Maybe somebody could share the link, or I'll share it. Actually, I'll share it at the end of the call, because if you don't have that, there's some really great resources and mental health check planners and just the daily things that I do that I'm sharing with you. So we'll get to that at the end. Actually, let me go back. Does anybody want to come off mute and share, what you're hoping to get out of today, or a burning question that you want to be sure I cover as I'm moving forward? Anybody, like, why did you join this call today? Anyone brave enough to share that with us?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
just,
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
sorry, girls.
Go for it.
Just want to hear what you did and all the good stuff.
Right on. Right on.
Like you, I'm in my 50s and started having recently, within the last 6 months, which I'm actually starting to cry, my level started changing as well. And I've actually developed feet pain I'm not used to. And I'm wondering if all this is kind of tied together.
Right. Could be. And anyone else want to share before I move on?
No, want to hear what you went through, and I think because we're also remote, we only see faces and not the person. So, looking at your face, I wouldn't have known, what you've been going through. And so I appreciate you sharing. And like you said, some of us, maybe not on this call, or others who are going to hear, aren't used to being open like you are, so I know so we appreciate you. We love you. And I feel bad that I didn't know all you were going through. So thank you, Crystal.
Oh, I appreciate it, Alice. Thank you. Well, when each of us is going through a particularly difficult journey, and I think you mentioned something where we just see pictures of this part of us. And over the course of the last year or two, I was very cognizant of taking pictures that had shadows here, and you know what I mean? And so that is exhausting, you guys, honestly. And it, after a while, I don't want to be in pictures at all. And I think the detriment to that is my poor kids. I want to have memories with them. And I was shying away from being in front of the camera, and instead being in the back of the camera. And that's probably my vanity talking. And so in full disclosure, I'm sharing everything. I'm just being really vulnerable with you guys. But my hope is to share with one, if it helps one person, it is totally worth it. And also, full disclosure, I'm part of a Facebook group that's it's a liver Facebook group, and I stumbled upon it last year. And actually, when I had posted a picture in there, and it was very uncomfortable, and there were many people in that group that had inspired me because they'd come back from on their liver journey and turned it around. And so when I say it wasn't just one thing, it was many things and many people actually that have inspired me. So I do feel like I have to share this because so many people, as a result of that post, I think over 200 people said, "What did you do?" And I'm like, oh gosh, now I need to talk about this. So that's why I'm here. And, we'll cover some things. So if you guys have questions along the way, just stop me or we'll chat it at the end. Okay. So just so you understand my history and where I came from, and maybe some of you came from this place, in my childhood, food was not something that we really learned about for nutrition. And this is me personally. I grew up with every day Doritos in my lunch, peanut butter and jelly, or some sandwich with mayonnaise. I mean, it was just loaded with, I didn't know. I didn't know any better about protein or anything. And every day I'd have raspberry coconut zingers and Hostess cupcakes. And, I'm not knocking treats, but I had treats every day. And it was a way of life with the sugary cereals, a lot of soda pop. And those just became a norm. And I didn't know that there was a connection between what I put in my body and how it would make me feel or my brain function. And as a matter of fact, in college, and we'll talk about adulthood, in college, it was totally normal to go to class and then go to the vending machine and get a Snickers, right? Because the commercials told us that, well, the nuts in there, you just grab a Snickers. I can't remember what the slogan was, but like, well, they told us that having a Snickers would be good if I can't have anything else. So love Snickers, love peanut butter. And I used food to cope, right? It's a good day. Let's have some cake. It's a bad day. All right, let's have some cake. And so food just became this thing that I just didn't know any better. And I didn't know how to change it because when I was younger, before hormones and all those things, this didn't it didn't affect me in the way that it has in the last few years. So my typical diet was bad, very bad. And I would just tell myself, well, I'll clean it up in the next 2 weeks and I'll lose the weight, or I'll eat like this every day, when in fact I did. And even, my doctor had asked me, do you drink alcohol? And I said, I'm your typical Friday night wine drinker. That's, not a big deal, totally under control. And then you tell yourself, like, well, it's not a big deal, not realizing how much effect that and the sugar in wine and all of that has on our bodies. So anyway, like I said, this time it was different and I needed to make a change. And part of it was I got really scared about where the trajectory was headed. So that last year was this journey of testing and labs. And I'm not going to share it on this call, but I'll personally share it with anyone. I had labs done every 30 to 60 days. And so I can see what my journey looks like. In terms of how I feel and what you guys see, that's one thing. But I can see in my labs exactly where I came from, which was in some of my liver enzymes and my iron and my ferritin. I'll just share that with you. 4 times the normal rate, just so you know where I came from. And over the course of the last year, with implementing all of these things, not just one thing, but implementing all of these things, I am happy to tell you that 3 out of 4 of those things are now within the normal range. And so, I mean, that is the proof that I needed to know I'm on the right track. So what started out as a normal office visit and me just saying, like, I'm tired, old, and puffy, and I guess this is what I have to live with, turned into, no, actually, there's a reason. And my labs revealed that there were reasons why I was feeling tired, old, and puffy, not where I wanted to be. But I had a new medical provider that was a MD, but yet a very interested person in natural medicine and functional medicine and the root cause. And she didn't give up. And there were many tests that went to the level of DNA and ANA titers. And, I'm not even smart enough to understand half of that stuff. But what I'm telling you is she was relentless. And if you're at that place with your medical provider having those conversations, don't give up. you're in charge of your own healthcare. And I would just say, continue to ask them. If you still have things going on that aren't being resolved, continue asking the questions of, what else can we do? What else can be done? Because there's a source, there is a root cause to all of the things. And, full disclosure on from my end, um, we discovered some things along the way that were pretty scary when I was first diagnosed, if you will. But once they explained what that looked like in terms of what I could do to help myself and for them to help me, it made me feel a lot better. So I'm just going to say, your story might not be exactly like mine, but if you feel something, this picture, I chose this picture. Obviously, it's not me, but I chose this picture because that is one of the things that kind of sent me in the first place. Was I had this dull ache, for a long time, and just thought, I slept wrong. It's my pillow. It's my mattress. It is not. It was my insides telling me that something was wrong. So my personal diagnosis was that I have something called hereditary hemochromatosis. My body has a inability to process iron, which is why my iron and my ferritin are very high. It is a hereditary condition that I inherited from one, or actually both of my parents. It's heterozygous, so I got it from both. And what that meant was I needed to really watch my liver enzymes because I am prone for them to be elevated. And here I was eating all these things and this lifestyle that even someone without that diagnosis would have trouble. And then obviously, the one of the reasons why I'm even talking about this was I was diagnosed with non-alcoholic fatty liver. And the reason, or how they knew that, right? And if you guys are wondering about liver enzymes, this is a conversation to have with your doctor. But your ALT and your AST, those two lab results will tell you what your liver enzymes, what the levels are in your body. And your ALT is directly connected to your liver. Mine were high, like I said, 4 times normal. And then your AST is all of those enzymes, your liver enzymes in the rest of your body. And that's when, things, if that's high, we're in trouble. So the marching orders that I got from my doctor, she said, just lose 20% of your body weight, and then said goodbye. And that that was like over a year ago. And those first marching orders, I didn't know what to do with. So what do you guys think I did? I continue doing what I always do. So I'm just, not sedentary, sit here, eat my stuff, drink all the creamer in my coffee and all the ice cream, whatever. So, but why? Why do we do that? It's because, and I wrote Old Habits Die Hard. Old habits, just ingrained habits. I didn't know any different. And maybe I knew better because I'd read about it or other people had success, but it wasn't me. I didn't know how to make that part of my story. And so what finally shifted my thinking is towards the end of last year, I had something called a FibroScan. And people ask me all the time, how do you know after your labs and your levels that things were going south? Well, you have something called a FibroScan, which looks at the elasticity and the stiffness of your liver. There's a test result that comes out of that. And then from there, if it's still headed in the downward direction, as mine was, I had a liver biopsy, which scared the bejeebers out of me. And that was enough. So, what shifted my thinking? Oh, I don't know, just sitting in a hospital going, wonder if I should start thinking about my living will. I know I'm joking about it now, you guys, but it's not. It is not. It's not a joking matter. And so I needed to do something quickly, and I needed to do something that stuck so that I didn't revert back to the patterns that I just reverted back to all the time. So I'm not going to read this slide, but if you guys have my guide, I just want to share that your liver is one of the most incredible organs in our bodies. It is the hub of everything and touches almost every other function because it's responsible for releasing or detoxifying all the stuff that we put in so that it can come out. And if it's not functioning, where do you think all that goes? It's stored in your body. And that is why I had the puffy, the dark circles, I felt horrible. I had brain fog. I couldn't think, all of those things. So, and then it plays a immune support function that I got sick all the time. And I was a pretty healthy person before. I do essential oils for a living. So like, why am I getting sick when I have all of these resources? And it's because the core, the root of my body was not performing. It was not functioning. Okay. So you guys, if you have my guide, you can read that page about what our livers do and how incredible they are and how they're the only organ in our body that can actually rejuvenate itself. So, think of the salamander. It grows its foot back. There's your liver, right? So I thought this slide was exactly where my journey was, because I was just trugging along going, yeah, it's good. It's fine. Everything's fine. I even got a t-shirt that says everything's fine. It's all fine. Do I wear it anymore? No, I don't, because things weren't fine. They were not fine. But if you're in this space, it's okay, because you're not alone and you can make a way back. I promise you. I promise you. So everyone asked me after that post, what did I personally do to get on the train back to my journey of health? And like I said, it's not one thing. It's a bunch of different things. And so I'm going to attempt to put those all down here so you guys can take what you will. I am not, like I said, I'm not giving you medical advice, but I do think these are things that if you put them into place, you're going to be in a much better spot moving forward. And it's all of these things that I did little by little, added one thing at a time to not bombard myself, because I knew I'd go back. These are all things that I needed to do in order to get healthier. And one of the first things, and I have it right here, like, I got this. Yes, I'm part of the Stanley tribe. I have a 12-year-old girl, preteen. So here's my pink Stanley, right? You guys can make fun of me. But that was one of the first things I did, because I hate drinking water. Full disclosure, it is really tough for me to drink water and to down it. So one of the things I do is as soon as I get up, before my feet hit the floor, it's on my nightstand. I drink not a full, right? I drink like this much of it before I even get out of bed. And what helps is if you put a drop of essential oil in there. My personal favorite's lemon. And I immediately, my doctor had said to me, remember Friday night wine drinker? They said that stops now. And not that there was an issue or an addiction. And if that's the case, then that's a completely different story, right? That you absolutely need to get healthy. But for me, she said, why are you going to introduce any other toxins into your body when you're trying to heal? So that was mind blown. And yeah, let's do that. Another thing that came out of one of the Facebook groups that I'm in is this book called The Mediterranean Diet Weight Loss Solution. And it's more than a diet book or a menu recipe book. It goes into simple exercises and movements. And I hate the word exercise, just so you guys all know. If you tell me to exercise, I will go eat a Twinkie in the corner. It's not good. So if you call it movement, get up and go, get your blood flowing, go outside, get some fresh air. If you tell me that, I am 10 times more apt to do it. So the cookbook also talks about those things that we can do that are easy, that will help promote a healthy lifestyle. And so anyway, that was key. And it had a bunch of food that protein intake. I had to have, 25 to 30 grams of protein with every meal. Oh, well, that's new. That's not my Snickers bar. And I had greens with every meal. Imagine that. Like, that would help. So I did find a free elliptical on Facebook Marketplace. You'd be surprised what you can find there for free. Go, just start moving. That's all. The other things I did was my bedtime routine. I don't know about you guys, but this kind of scroll thing going on, sitting in bed before I go to sleep, was getting the best of me. It's not good. It's not good for our brains. And that would ruin my day the next day. So when I needed to get up, get moving, all of those things. So I know that you guys are like, what does that have to do with my liver? It has everything to do with your liver, because if you're not getting enough sleep, your body doesn't have enough time to repair, rejuvenate. And I was not getting enough sleep at all. Okay. Fasting, we hear all about intermittent fasting. Oh, this is the way to go, or keto and paleo. And okay, so I don't do keto. I don't do paleo. I don't do those. But the fasting piece was kind of a byproduct of, well, in order for my liver to function properly, I want to give it the best chance to do so. That means I don't tax it 24 hours a day. I don't snack at night. I was a late night popcorn eater. That's gone. Just sitting in front of the TV doing this. So I don't eat past 7. It's my last meal happens, and you would be surprised that after you have your last meal, go to sleep, in the morning you're not hungry. If I have a big meal at night, I am starving in the morning. I don't know why. Maybe that's you guys. You can chat. You can chat it up in the chat box if that's you, but I will never understand that phenomenon. But if I don't eat a big meal or snack at night, for some reason, I'm not hungry in the morning. About 9 o'clock in the morning is when I put the first thing in my mouth. And so that's not very strict intermittent fasting. Some people do, 20 hours. And nope, this is a normal pattern that goes with my sleeping, that goes with my day, that makes a lot of sense. And it gives my liver a chance to recover at night. I'm going to talk about some of the oils and supplements that I used in order to bounce back. And it was not a quick bounce back. It was month after month of tests to make sure that everything I was doing was putting me on the path back to health. So I'll share that with you in a second, item by item. And then journaling, quiet time, that was really important. And we hear everybody thinks that's so cliche, that's a mantra. It is really helpful, you guys. People told me to do this for a long time. But if I wasn't having my devotion time, or, for me, my prayer time, if I wasn't doing that, then I was really getting outside of my head on why even do this in the first place. I needed to connect to, in my case, my prayer time, and I couldn't do this by myself. I think that's what I'm telling you, is I needed the strength to continue to move forward. And then I'll talk about the book in a second. There's a book that I was reading that helped a lot. Okay, so I won't spend time on this slide. If you have my guide, the ebook, then all of my recipes and the quick things, that my favorites that I love to do every day, they're in there. The only thing I'll say about this was the quick, immediate things that I had to do when the light bulb went off, was I cut out all sugar. That is key, because sugar is what adds the toxins to your liver, and your liver is not going to be able to dispel. Okay. It's just taxing on your liver. That meant no white bread. I'm a bread, cake, cookie girl. And so no bread, pasta, rice. But I did, here's the surprising thing about the Mediterranean diet, that I could have organic whole wheat bread, or I could have the Dave's, right? The Dave's bread, or the Ezekiel sprouted grain. That was another mind blown, because I had this thing in my head that, oh, you can't have bread at all. And I'll tell you what, having the organic whole wheat, or some kind of a bread that wasn't white, that really unlocked the puffiness release. It sounds counterintuitive, but that is true. So once I did that, it was like, oh, my body goes, all right, let's move. I don't have red meat as often anymore. And I used to be, the burger girl. I'd have a burger at least a couple times a week. I love In-N-Out. Oh, those of you from California, In-N-Out burger. We just got one in Idaho. It's awesome. But I limit my In-N-Out burger to 1 time a month, and protein style with the little lettuce on the outside. But my secret is I cook up a big, huge pan of chicken breast on Sunday, and I put some spices on there, and then I just cut it up for the rest of the week. And I have in the guide, you'll see there's some good choices that I choose because of my iron levels. And this is actually good for your liver too. The leafy greens, all the cruciferous vegetables, and the things that I did avoid. So if you guys have that guide, then I would take a look at that. So let's talk about oils for a second. You can't get off this call without me talking about the other pieces that I used in order to get back to the healthy track. And I will talk about why I use one particular brand, what the heck are essential oils. We won't go too deep into that, but how I used these in this journey, and what exactly I used for liver function. There's a bunch of different things out there that you'll hear about, dandelion root and milk thistle and all the things. But what did I do to get back? You'll see that. All right. So just real quick, in case people are on this video watching going, well, what the heck are essential oils? And how do I use them? So essential oils are just plant extracts from seeds. They're from the stems, they're from the leaves. And what you can do with these oils is you can put them in your hands and inhale them. You could put them in a diffuser like we've got there. You can also put them directly on your skin, whatever area is ailing you, right? Or what I'm about to talk about is the internal use of some of the supplements and essential oils. And I would never say that about any other brand. I obviously work with a brand. I work with doTERRA. And the reason I choose them is because of the purity, because of their certified pure tested grade, that you can find exactly what's inside here. There's nothing synthetic, nothing chemical, nothing. It's the most tested and most pure oils on the planet. They're sourced responsibly. We are on both sides of the bottle. We're helping us, we're helping the farmers. And so anyway, that's just why I choose this particular brand. And I wouldn't be able to speak to any other brand. Okay. So that's how we use them. And what were the things that I put into place in order to come back from where I was, to come back from afar? The first thing I did, you're going to hear a lot about turmeric, and people will all over the internet. They're like, oh, well, turmeric, and it gets a lot of attention for healthy inflammatory response in our body. And so that was one of the first things I reached for. But this is not just your turmeric spice. It's not your turmeric oil. The dual chamber capsules that I was using, it's, you can't even really see a picture of it, but it's the extract and the oil, and it's covered in the capsule, because part of it, when you take anything, it goes to your stomach, and all of the, you know, your stomach acids and all that, it's gone. It's just absorbed in your body, which is great, because some of that does need to go into your stomach, your gut, and all that. The reason why the dual chamber is because the inner part of this is going into your intestines, and it does not break down until you get there. And we need the added support to make it all the way into our organs to make this even more effective. So if you're wondering, well, why are we taking this in the delivery system that it is? This is, I think, a huge reason why it worked for me. Okay. The other thing I used is Zendocrine Complex, and please don't get confused. I'm going to talk about Zendocrine Complex, and I'm going to talk about Zendocrine Oil or soft gels. I know they sound the same, but they're not. They're two completely different products. The Zendocrine Complex is a detoxification complex. And when you hear people saying, oh, well, go take some milk thistle or dandelion root or red clover or all those things, they talk a lot about psyllium. All of those things are inside this product, and it's a supplement. And this is going to help support your organs, all of our organs, right? It's not just for the liver, but it's going to be able to help cleanse and filter so that it can just be more efficient. So I needed this in order to cleanse all the junk that I had put in there for so long. So I was taking this on a daily basis. And then the Zendocrine, same name, but it's not the same thing. This is the Zendocrine soft gels, the same as if you'd find it in an oil. And I know it sounds like it's very similar, but this is the actual oil. It is the juniper berry, it's the geranium, it's the rosemary, it's cilantro. And those are things that are going to support your kidneys and all of your other organs, and just help the body's natural process go from here all the way out. Okay, TMI. But those two things hand in hand were huge in terms of detoxifying your body, your liver, etc. I'm sorry about the blurry on this photo on the left, but this on the right is a true story of what happens if you do Balance and Serenity. Just kidding. That's my daughter. And then we did do Balance and Serenity. Why do I suggest Balance and Serenity in my personal liver journey? Well, because I had a lot of anxious feelings around what was happening and some of the results I was getting in terms of the testing, the poking, the prodding. I needed to calm down. And both of these oils, when used in concert, when used alone, when used in concert, they were helping me to just get take the edge off and get a little bit more calm, a little bit less scattered. I use the Balance every day. How did I use it? Behind my ears, right here at the nape of my neck, on my temples. I also put it on my wrist so that I could just have it just to breathe in every single day. I put it on topically as well. And the Serenity I use on a daily basis. In addition to using it during the day, I also use it at night. And that was part of my sleep routine. You saw earlier that one of the things was trying to get to bed earlier, not looking at screens so much. Well, how do I shift from what I was doing to not doing all those things? I needed to get into the mindset, and this oil helped me do that. Okay. So I put it in my diffuser at night, and that helped a great deal. Could you find other oils to do this for you? Sure. But these are the two that without fail, if I'm feeling like this, even if I'm feeling like this, I need to use these two oils. Okay. If you don't have these oils and these products yet, then I did just create a little bundle so that you can click that QR code down at the bottom and you'll get my price in order to, start the journey. And obviously I will help you through that journey, or whoever invited you to this call will help you with your own personal journey as well. But the cool thing is, if you have the free guide that I did, the ebook, you can click on each of these links and it will take you to the product information page on each of these products. So you can read more about each one and why it works. And I should talk about the NAC. It is not a doTERRA product, but that was another piece of my journey because it helped with the free radicals in our body and reducing the oxidative stress. So I also linked some articles, National Institute of Health, and you can see for yourself how NAC has helped. So anyway, take a picture of that QR code if it's something that you'd like to do. How are we going to move forward if this is going to be your journey, and not just a liver journey, you guys, any kind of health journey? I would recommend that you find a buddy or an accountability partner. It's like they always tell us that if you're going to go to the gym, make sure you have somebody that's going to call you at 5:30 in the morning and go. Well, if somebody calls me at 5:30 to go to the gym, I'm going to hang up on them. Just kidding. No, but I needed a buddy with this. My accountability partners were my Facebook group, the Reverse Fatty Liver Facebook group. I will give major props to them and some of the people in there that had inspired me to continue because they had shared their story, and I could see that they had some results that, I could see in the pictures. And like Alice said earlier, that's only one part of the story because you can't see what goes on behind the mind and in the body. So all you guys are seeing today is, my comeback, and here's the dark circle Christelle, and here's energy Christelle. But what happened inside my body and my mind and how I feel is you won't be able to see that in a picture, but I promise you that this has changed my life, and I will never go back to where I was a year ago or 2 years ago. So join a Facebook group. I do have a liver group. You can reach out to me and I can make you a part of it, or I can connect you to the Reverse Fatty Liver group. There's 38,000 people in that group and they're so supportive. It's amazing. My mantra is just keep going. Don't stop. There's going to be days that are going to be really hard, but just keep going. In the guide, I did put a self-care checklist that you can follow. Super easy if you're a checklist kind of person. And also just a daily, what are you setting out to do, and what kind of, you can put your breakfast, lunch, dinner, your snacks, you can put that there. But my favorite one is this one. It was a mental health daily tracker because I needed to know, like, how am I feeling today? What's happening? Am I feeling good? Am I feeling icky? And so this was a really good tool, and you'll find this in my guide as well. Just anything I could do, you guys, to help with the mindset, because that is going to drive what happens next. And so we've reached the end, and we'll open it up for questions in a second. But oh, look at it, got cut off. It says in closing, believe is what I'm getting at, because you can do this. And I'm really proud of everybody for either watching this call on the replay or jumping on today, because your health is important. I was totally overwhelmed with just all of the feedback that I got when I posted the really vulnerable, ridiculous pictures of myself. But the reason I did that, I felt really spirit led and God led to do that, because there is so much pain out there. And if I could help one person, then that is my goal. If you'd like to connect with me, my email's there. And we will continue doing this class and other classes, essential oils for hormones, essential oils for stress, essential oils. And yes, oils are a great part of my journey and how I came back. but like I said, it was just one piece, and there were so many other things that made it happen. And then my Breaking Free community on Facebook, if you want to be part of that for the liver journey, I would love to have you guys. So I'm going to stop the record button so that you guys can feel free to answer questions, and I'll stick around and we can chat a little bit more if you have other questions. But I'm going to hit stop on the record, and we will put this link up later so that the people that couldn't join us live will be able to join us. So thank you so much, everyone. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day.